Greetings, all starseeds, lightworkers, and wayshowers. Hope you are having a beautiful and amazing day. The portals are wide open. The new earth is manifesting. Our powers of manifestation are multiplying, magnifying, and accelerating. Be aware of that which you focus on, and keep that image, that joy, and that desire, your passion in your heart center, and manifest that out into this earth realm. Now everything is ramping up and preparing us for the full moon, the blood moon, and the full lunar eclipse, January 21st of year 1, WON, because love has won. In this video today, I'm going to transmit this message from Gary Z. McGee on becoming free. What are we really freeing ourselves for? Now, one other thing I should say. I'd like to thank all the Lightworkers and Starseeds out there for your wonderful support, your beautiful comments, and your donations. I must create a system or be enslaved by another man's. William Blake. Becoming free is creating your own virtuous system despite being outflanked by unvirtuous systems controlled by unvirtuous men. It is cultivating a healthy way of living despite the unhealthy ways of unhealthy men. It's becoming so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. That was from Albert Camus. Then it's building a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That's from Buckminster Fuller. But first we must ask ourselves what we are freeing ourselves for before asking ourselves what we are freeing ourselves from. The answer to that question, what are we freeing ourselves for, will be the foundation of our freedom, the cornerstone of our virtue, the building blocks of a healthier way of being human in this world. Understand, we must be critical and highly skeptical of any answer that should arise from asking this most vital of questions. For if our answer is deemed invalid, unhealthy by the dictates of universal law, what's healthy and what's not, then it should be discarded as invalid, unhealthy, for any humans who are attempting to be virtuous and healthy. Also, every answer should remain flexible and adaptable, lest it become stagnant, rigid, dogmatic, tyrannical, and stuck in its ways. A virtuous system follows the golden rule and the non-aggression principle. Beware of the good and the just. They like to crucify those who invent their own virtue for themselves. That was from Nietzsche. As human beings, there is no way around the fact that we are social creatures. We need each other to survive in a hostile, entropic universe. Therefore, the golden rule is paramount. It is imperative that whatever we are freeing ourselves for does not overreach or impede the health and welfare of others. A truly virtuous system never forces its virtue onto others. The moment a so-called virtuous system forces its virtues or values onto others, it ceases to be virtuous. There's no way around this absolute fact. Any attempt to get around it is a violation of the golden rule and therefore unvirtuous. Likewise, it is vital that whatever we are freeing ourselves for does not violate the non-aggression principle. A truly virtuous system is never directly violent. It is only ever violent in self-defense. The moment a so-called virtuous system becomes directly violent, it ceases to be virtuous. The only moral exception to this fact is when violence is necessary to defend against direct violence, and even then only as a last resort. Any attempt to use violence to force others into compliance is a violation of the non-aggression principle and therefore unvirtuous. Caveat: being social animals in an environment with finite sources or resources is highly complicated. To the extent that our virtuous system indirectly pollutes the environment, it gets a pass for somewhat violating the non-aggression principle. The tragedy of the commons is a very real and sometimes unavoidable paradox. But, and here's the rub, to the extent that our virtuous system directly pollutes the environment, it is in direct violation of the non-aggression principle, and therefore can no longer be considered virtuous. A healthy system is sustainable, moral, and eco-conscious. A thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community. It is wrong when it tends otherwise. That's from Aldo Leopold. How do we know the current system, society, is unsustainable, immoral, and even ecocidal, and thus unfit for healthy and virtual people? It is self-evident. Our society pollutes the air it needs to breathe. Our society pollutes the water it needs to drink. Our society pollutes the food it needs to eat. Our society creates unhealthy individuals it needs to evolve with. Any system that forces its people to breathe polluted air, drink polluted water, eat polluted food, and then continues to do all the things that causes that pollution is a profoundly sick society. Krishnamurti's quote is a powerful reminder of this vital fact. It's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. The solution is to create a system that is sustainable, moral, and eco-conscious, to create a healthy system that makes the unhealthy system obsolete. The problem is that the unhealthy system overreaches. It overreaches with its pollution and it overreaches with its power. So almost any attempt at creating a healthier system will have to be covert and strategically defensive, both in its attempt to create a healthy system and in its attempt to thwart the encroaching unhealthy system. It will have to be clandestine and stealthy on the other hand, and creative and daring on the other hand. This will probably result in pockets of horizontal democracy on the ground level, sustainable communes, eco-villages, and various types of anarchist groups, while on the individual level it will probably result in plenty of free-range humans, ninja-naires, eco-warriors, and various types of sustainable hermits. The bottom line, discovering a healthy and virtuous answer to the question, what are we freeing ourselves for, is no easy feat. It's not for the faint of heart. It will take counterintuitive reasoning. It will require you to think outside of whatever box you've been conditioned to think inside of for most of your life. It will force you to unwash the brainwash. It will involve reprogramming your programming. It will demand that you question the profoundly sick society you were born into. Most of all, it will require audacious courage in the face of comfortable cowardice. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "A man is to carry himself in the presence of all opposition. I ought to go upright and vital and speak the rude truth in all ways. Your goodness must have some edge to it, else it is none. But in the end it will have been worth it, for you will have discovered moral virtue. You will have discovered provident health. You will have discovered authentic freedom, and your conscience will have finally been cleared." So I'll be putting out a video tomorrow about a global meditation for the 144,000 that will be on the eclipse, during the eclipse of the moon, the lunar eclipse, and the full blood moon. So look for that tomorrow, and have a beautiful and most sacred divine day.